What the hell are you doing here? I reviewed all these movies! I did it in time! I defeated the curse of cock! God, that's gonna sound awkward to anyone watching who didn't see that subplot. Really? It's been months! Why now? Fine. Please, that's your answer to everything, isn't it? Hello, World Wide Web. I'm Dr. Shado, the internet personality of this here. And evidently we are looking at Halloween. Again. The third Halloween. No, not Halloween 3, the one that came out in 2018. With 3 movies in the series now just called Halloween, it's suddenly a little confusing. Either way, after Halloween Resurrection led to Rob Zombie's reboot, which led to Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, the plot got a little more mixed around. So now we're rebooting again! Ish. I mean, we're back to the original continuity, but we also nixed the vast majority of what actually happened in that continuity. That means after Halloween 1, Michael Myers was successfully apprehended and institutionalized. Again, but now, 40 years later, at the ripe old age of 60-something, he has returned to Haddonfield to finish what he started oh so long ago. Kill Laurie Strode! It's a shame. I was hoping he'd spend a little more time on those dioramas he likes doing from time to time. But anyway, let's take a look at Halloween 2018 before another Halloween movie comes out and nixes this from the continuity. Our story opens up in the asylum! No, not that asylum, thank God. The one where Michael Myers has been rotting away for 40 years. A couple of investigative journalists have arrived. Aaron, played by Jefferson Hall, and Dana, played by Ryan Reese. They're here to see Michael Myers, and, as such, need to go through Michael's doctor. Not Loomis, of course. The man has since passed away, but rather Loomis's pupil, Dr. Sartan, played by Haluk Bellinger. He fills him in on how Loomis felt Michael was pure evil and should have been killed, dismembered, cremated, and possibly shot into the sun, just to be sure. But all they ever really did with him is keep him locked up all this time, meaning they can go forward and get that interview, if they can somehow get the man to talk. But it's not like they couldn't try nonverbal communications. Michael's really good at the head tilt. This is our creepy introduction. Spooky, scary, sanitarium, and all that. The cinematography is good, so it works, but it does feel like a cheap way to make the audience feel uneasy. Now, by there, Aaron's got the mask. Turns out all they have to do is ask the Attorney General's office nicely, and they just loan him out like a library for serial killer memorabilia. Now to see if it works.
Say something!
Not to get him to talk, but to bring back that classic Halloween theme. Well, I guess that means I gotta hold up my end of the bargain here, too. We also get the return of the pumpkin! The rotten, desecrated jack-o'-lantern recomposes, forming the classic carving from the original Halloween. I feel like there's some subtext there. Now, while the movie starts and we're back in Haddonfield. Aaron hasn't given up hope on investigating Michael Myers, so he heads on over to the Strode house. The very well-fortified Strode house. Dana prepared ahead of time with a wad of cash, but he's sure his charm will be more than enough to get her to unlock the gate.
We're making a podcast, and
We're investigative journalists.
Oh, poor guy. Years of practicing interviews always just leaves everyone socially awkward. Dana saves the day by mentioning the big fucking wad of cash they have in exchange for an interview, and Laurie unlocks the gate. Unsurprisingly, she's still played by Jamie Lee Curtis. Slightly more surprisingly, she has long hair. Yes, like Halloween 1, but I'm really not used to seeing this woman with anything beyond a pixie cut. Predictably, this interview is a means to exposit a shit ton of backstory at the audience all at once, from Laurie's belief that Michael Myers is the boogeyman incarnate, to how, in between movies, Laurie had relationship problems and is estranged from her daughter and granddaughter, possibly because the state declared her an unfit mother and took her daughter away when she was 12. Okay, that's enough exposition. Give me that cash and get the fuck out of my house. That way we can see how Laurie's kid is doing, married to Ray, played by Toby Huss.
I swish from marshmallow fluff to peanut butter. See how those little bastards eat that.
Who is a complete fucking idiot. That's like his only character trait. I have no idea what the hell Karen sees in this guy. He's a total fucking moron that's either always talking out of his ass or fucking shit up, usually both. There's also their daughter Allison, played by Andy Matichak, and of course Karen is played by Judy Greer. Also...
Oh, Mother! Oh, man. I got peanut butter on my penis.
Ew, Dad.
To those who told me in my initial reaction review to this movie that no, he didn't say penis, he said he got peanut butter on his pants. Yes, he said penis. He clearly says penis. His one quote listed on his IMDb page is, "I got peanut butter on my penis." And I still have no idea how, unless he just likes leaving it hanging out while he's arming mousetraps. Like I said, this guy's not the brightest bulb in the box. But actually, this is the scene where he establishes, by talking when no one wants him to, that Allison's boyfriend might in fact be a bad boy!
Hey, Dad.
What?
Can you stop?
I gotta clean this peanut butter off my hand.
Which is going to be very important later. The bad boy thing, not the penis butter. We also see that Allison actually would like to see if her grandmother could make it to her little celebration tonight, but Karen acts like, "Oh, yeah, I asked her, but darn it, she just doesn't want to come." Knowing this is obviously bullshit, Allison leaves for school, meeting up with a couple of friends. Vicky, played by Virginia Gardner, and Vicky's boyfriend Dave, played by Miles Robbins. They talk about what's going on, how Allison wants her grandma to come down, but her mother is being a bitch about it, and how annoying it is that every damn year around Halloween, they always freak out over everything.
Wasn't it her brother who, cold-blooded mutilated all those teenagers?
No. That's just a bit that some people made up to make him feel better, I think.
So according to this continuity, that brother-sister thing from Halloween 2, not only is that not happening, we are specifically saying that's not the case. Which really doesn't add anything. I mean, it brings a differentiation there, but as it stands in the movie, it's just a big fuck you to the original continuity. I mean, I didn't care for the brother-sister hokiness myself, but to be honest, the Thorn trilogy did kind of grow on me. Unlike Dave here, who not only pointed out his ignorance by believing rumors over facts, but then engages in some good old-fashioned whataboutism right there, saying how having your friends horribly murdered by a serial killer who then tries to kill you really isn't that big of a deal, because after all, there's far worse things going on in the world, so just get over it already.
I'm just saying, by today's standards.
Just shut the fuck up, Dave. Shut up.
And then a station wagon drives by as the entire family inside gives them a slow clap. And after they finally get to school via a handy-dandy jump scare, we are introduced to Allison's boyfriend, Cameron, played by Dylan Arnold. We establish the two of them are madly in love, planning to go to a Halloween party as Bonnie and Clyde. But before that, there's this family dinner that Allison has planned tonight, and he is invited to partake in that as well. We also establish they have a mutual friend, Oscar, played by Drew Scheid. He's going to the Halloween party too, but first, class.
No bliss. His message is totally hopeful, even in the most disparaging of conditions.
Which references the original Halloween. Or Halloween H2O. I don't know, after a while, when they reference the thing so many times, it really comes off more like a catchphrase. Meeting up with Grandma, Laurie slips Allison a few $1,000s and implies now might be a nice time to take a vacation, far, far away from Haddonfield. Allison knows what Laurie is getting at, though, and that this is why her mother and grandmother don't get along anymore. Laurie says that it doesn't matter if Karen hates her, though, as long as she's prepared for the horrors of this world.
Say goodbye to Michael. And get over it.
Goodbye.
You could say goodbye to jump scare transitions while you're at it. They're not scary, they're just startling. So it's kinda obvious Laurie isn't going to be giving up those 40 years of preparing to murder the shit out of Michael. As it just so happens tonight the man is scheduled for transfer, and Laurie camps out outside the sanitarium. Wonder how the fuck they didn't notice that, but she can't bring herself to shoot him. Now back to Ray embarrassing his daughter.
This is a massive overshare.
I learned a lot about myself with his dad. Trip balls out in the woods mean his dad. It was trip balls.
Ray and Cameron's dad used to go off doing drugs together. How nostalgic. Would you mind telling me what drugs he's been on recently? Allison asks her mother again whether or not she called Grandma, and she says, "Oh, yeah, she said she was gonna come, but, well..." And as luck would have it, she walks in right then, able to celebrate Allison's achievements.
Yeah, have a
We
seat.
could go for a walk.
Did it go great?
Yeah, it went really...
Hey, Mom,
That's mine.
I thought you quit drinking. Mom, what are you doing?
She can't help it! She came all this way to show support for her granddaughter and then just now finds out she's also got to deal with that fucknugget Ray. Taking a seat to explain she's feeling kind of down because she's just no good at attempted murder, the conversation becomes slightly less awkward than it does with Ray talking, but somehow they're more upset by this, and try to defuse the situation. Eventually, the dinner is ruined and Laurie ends up heading home all alone.
I never told you how I spent my childhood.
So now you can find out in a flashback! I'm scared, Mommy! Don't worry, I'll make it quick.
I learned how to shoot a gun when I was 8.
8? The fuck took you so long? 6 is on the earlier end of can safely be taught how to operate a firearm. And if we're trying to paint Laurie as this extreme parent who forced this on her child, shouldn't it be more like 4 or 5?
I learned how to fight.
Oh, so you took karate too. 2nd degree brown in American Kenpo myself.
I had nightmares about the basement.
I had nightmares about being eaten alive by giant fucking spiders, but sure, basement, spooky.
Social services came when I was 12 years old and took me away.
Wait, that's it? That's the bad childhood that scarred you for life? Lady, not only did I have a far worse childhood than that, most of the people I know had harder childhoods than that. But somehow it was super traumatizing, and she spent her whole life trying to get over it. Damn you, Tiger Shulman! When will your reign of terror end? Not soon enough, as we see a poor child being dragged out by his ancient father for some traumatizing hunting and fishing in the middle of the night when he'd much rather go to dance class.
Right now, dancing is my thing, and it really hits me in the heart. I mean, Dad, look out!
Oh, fuck, it's the loonies. Just keep driving. The father isn't just old, he's likely senile, as for some reason, he thinks getting out of the car and leaving his son alone with all those escaped people milling about in their clean white garb is perfectly safe. Unsurprisingly, it isn't. So little Billy loads up and heads out to investigate. Way to go, officer. Why not give us a good brains while you're at it? Run! Okay, zombie vocabulary is a little different than I remember. Unfortunately, Officer Bleedout's words fall on deaf ears, as the kid is now screaming and searching for his dad, with his gun held out front just to be sure that if he does find his father, it'll go as badly as possible.
Don't shoot!
To be fair, it's not entirely the kid's fault. It's like in Lethal Enforcers. The entire fucking area is a big fucking shooting gallery, and for some strange reason, the innocent civilians think the best possible thing they can do in that situation is jump out in the middle of it with their hands up. Deciding, okay, Dad can walk, he's just gonna drive the fuck out of there, results in Michael Myers reaching from the backseat, brutally murdering the child. But he did shoot someone, so by horror movie standards, he deserved it. However, the accident, murder, and general chaos of this situation does garner the attention of the police, and is responded to by Officer Hawkins, played by Will Patton. It appears everyone almost dead has had their condition downgraded to dead, except for one.
I've been shot. All right, stay with me. Help's on the way. What happened in here?
Oh, a kid came in brandishing a weapon, and I thought that it would be a good time for jump scares, and... you know what? Blacked out. I blacked out. Dr. Sartan has managed to survive, but unfortunately, it takes the police until the next day to finish rounding up all the escaped loonies. Well, almost all. They've checked and double-checked, but it looks like one patient in particular somehow managed to slip through the cracks.
It's Michael Myers. Babysitter murders, 1978. 40 years to this day.
Well, it's really not hard to remember your anniversary when it's fucking Halloween. The idea of the town canceling Halloween over this is laughable, though. Another jab at the original continuity. Aaron and Dana, however, are still on their quest to uncover the real truth behind Michael Myers, and as such, they've been driving around a lot and need to refuel. Oh well, nothing bad ever happens at gas stations in Halloween movies. Unless you count that it's Michael's preferred place to find a change in wardrobe. But what good is changing your clothes if you don't also kill absolutely everyone in the establishment? The clerk is dead, the mechanic is dead, and soon, Dana will be dead as well. Oh, Mr. Myers, I see you're very busy. Carry on. Unfortunately for Dana, it's Aaron who has come to the rescue, so he drops the crowbar immediately before being beaten to death by Michael Myers, and she also doesn't run when she has the chance, giving the serial killer no issues, cornering, choking, and killing her to boot. Which means he can get his mask back. He knows it's in the truck, because he can feel its presence. Michael Myers is a Sith Lord, I don't know. Thus, Laurie hears the news of his escape and prepares for the inevitable, while Karen hears strange noises from somewhere in the house.
Karen? What?
Gotcha!
Man, don't you hate it when every fucking family member you have decides to collectively jump scare you? Laurie says that the fact that Karen's house is so lacking in security is a major problem, and she needs to board it up and prepare for the worst, which Karen flatly rejects. There's nothing to be afraid of, Mom. Take your gun and get the fuck out of my house. No bother, Laurie knows the danger she's going to face because tonight, of all nights, is Halloween. Michael Myers roams the streets of Haddonfield, using a hammer to murder the shit out of a poor innocent woman, so that he may instead acquire his weapon of choice, a kitchen knife. Now for some sneaky, stalky slasher villain antics with more unimportant characters. It's kind of like having a good stretch before you run. The man's in his 60s. You don't want him to throw his back out trying to stab a babysitter. Speaking of babysitters, while Allison and her boyfriend are at the Halloween party, as a gender-bent Bonnie and Clyde. So, Bono and Chloe? Anyway, Allison gets a call from her babysitter friend Vicky, who is doing the Haddonfield Halloween tradition of babysitting those kids who seemingly have nothing else to do on this night. The kid in question is possibly my favorite character in the movie, Julian, played by Jibral Nantambu, who questions his babysitter's euphemisms regarding what her and Dave are going to do after he goes to bed.
Okay, bye. Love you.
I heard you telling your friends to come over here and you're going to smoke some weed.
No.
That alakazam?
Julian, I'm talking about like a magic trick.
Just a sleight of hand. And lungs. And spatial awareness. Vicky does eventually get Julian to bed, and then we're back with Allison at the party. But as it turns out, her heart of gold boyfriend is in fact kissing another woman. Might look minor, but oh no, him trying to explain it makes things worse in every conceivable way.
What?
What was that?
What?
What's this?
What, dude? Have some discretion, alright?
Number 1, pretend nothing happened. Number 2, surprise! I've got a horrible drinking problem! He continues to make like that kissing was nothing, and Allison is just crazy, and who cares who got him drunk? But then her phone rings.
Okay, here, you know what? No. Your fucking precious phone?
What the fuck?
You tell me, there was like no lead up to this sudden outburst. Everything's fine, everything's great. You are so in love with an abusive drunken asshole who destroys your very expensive property. The only minor hint that anything could have been somewhat amiss was your father talking shit about his family, in between bouts of getting peanut butter on his penis. But this one is the last straw. Would have helped if we saw any hint of any other straw earlier, but Oscar has seen everything. No bother. Cameron has officially disappeared from the movie, and Dave can jump scare his way back in. He's here for that abracadabra and the alakazam. But while those two engage in a fully clothed exercise in chafing, strange noises interrupt them.
Oh, fuck me.
I saw someone in the hallway standing outside my door.
Oh, what's up, buddy?
There was a fucked up face watching me from the dark.
Really? Obviously, Julian wants one of the grown-ups to go up and make sure it's safe. However, when Vicky enters his room, not everything is as it seems.
Get out now!
Gotcha.
Gotcha! Again, I guess that's why it's important that Michael doesn't talk. Otherwise, he'd go around all movie stabbing people like, gotcha! So don't worry, everything's fine. He can go to bed, no problem. But before you go, Vicky, could you be a doll and close the closet door? You know, like in the trailer.
Oh shit!
Kid also manages to give the most believable performance. Dave, of course, is nowhere near where Vicky is, allowing Michael all the time he needs to do what he does best. Butcher the babysitter long before any help arrives.
Fuck this.
If this is what it's come to, I can make my own damn sandwiches! Fortunately, Julian managed to get away, meaning the police are asked to respond, which Laurie hears because every important character needs a police scanner. Hawkins gets there first, but that doesn't mean Laurie is leaving this in his hands.
Get out of here! Now!
Jesus, woman, you out of candy, all you gotta do is turn the porch light off. As we see, not only did Michael kill the teens, he set up another reference to the original Halloween while he was at it. I guess he's a fan of his own work. Also, Dave was killed off screen. Oh well, sucks to be him. While Michael slowly walks away, easily avoiding the police officer, Laurie does manage to shoot him in the shoulder, but then...
Laurie.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Frank!
Fuck me!
Fuck!
Sneaking up on your friends in horror movies is oddly frequent enough as it is, but when you see a woman there holding a gun which has been recently fired, at what point do you think, yeah, jump scare her, should be fine. So, thanks to Officer Fuckup, Michael managed to slip away. Sure, now the police response to this incident is impressively large, but Laurie sees that they're all just standing around doing nothing. That's not to say nothing comes of this, though, as they brought along that doctor from earlier.
I'm Michael's doctor, Ranbir Sartain.
You're the new Loomis.
It's saying something when even Laurie Strode is noticing the tropes as the plot moves along. Either way, not Loomis is going to be aiding the police, as he knows the most about Michael's thoughts and where he might strike next. In the meantime, Allison is walking home from the party and being escorted by Oscar, who has her back, and lets her talk about how her boyfriend Cameron is such a jerkwad, always drinking and being obnoxious. Before the movie started, I guess, but he swears he'll change. Again, citation needed, but alas, he never does. Oh well, don't worry about that anymore. Worry about Oscar.
You deserve better, right?
What the fuck?
You're not with Cameron anymore.
That does not...
But, ooh, the nice guy was only pretending to be nice and was in fact a total douchebag who thinks that his kindness has earned him some pussy. Well, sir, I will have you know that pussy is not exchanged by the laws of supply and demand. It works more like theoretical physics in relation to quantum theory. So, to put it another way, I have no fucking idea, but not like that! So she says, fuck you, fuck off, and go fuck yourself, because you're never gonna fuck me, you fucking fucker. With that, she leaves, and Oscar finds himself in the presence of a strange masked man, who he confuses for the owner of the backyard he's currently cutting through. He does get some nice awkward lines here, though, as he bemoans his failures to the masked man.
I just really like her, man, and I thought that she liked me too, and have you ever really liked a girl and you just couldn't have her?
Watch Oscar and Michael really bond over this, and then go forth hand in hand to gut Allison and string her intestines from a tree. Of course, that's not what happens. Instead, Michael murders him before he can even post this to Reddit, leaving Allison to flee in terror. They are finally safe. Or not. Rather than go into protective custody with the police, let's have Allison go with Officer Hawkins and Dr. Sartain, while everyone else just heads over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house they go, with a small police escort. Oh well, who needs heavy police protection when you have Laurie Strode's bunker of badassitude to keep you safe?
I like a revolver. They never jam.
Yeah, but squib loads and hangfires can still be a problem.
This is accuracy and stopping power.
Stopping power, that's an interesting way of describing a 4440. Yeah, you can take down a deer and piss off a bear.
This is tactical.
What the hell is that supposed to mean? If you're employing tactics, then technically speaking, every single one of those is tactical. Allison, on the other hand, is still in the back seat of Hawkins' police cruiser. Guess the writers just wanted to make sure she was around when they spot Michael Myers, calmly walking down the street. Not a care in the world, and they run him down like Ben Dramer. Before Hawkins can close in to blow his brains out, Dr. Sartain runs ahead, ensuring him that the unkillable evil is already dead. However...
Get away from the body. Stand back. I'm not going to say it again. Step away from the suspect. Step away.
It turns out Dr. Sartain was a bad guy all along. He orchestrated Michael's transfer and escape. I guess Dr. Loomis was just a terrible judge of character. You see, Myers is evil, pure evil, and Dr. Sartain wants to examine that evil to feel what it is like to be pure evil. Oh, so just put on the mask, don't talk, and boom, you are pure evil. Alright, moving on. Ensuring we still have a climax we actually want to watch, Sartan doesn't kill Myers or wear the mask any longer than this. Just stick the guy in the back with Allison and drive off, musing about Michael's evil and how he's so sick and deranged. In all these years, he's never even spoken.
He spoke to me.
What did he say?
One word.
What?
Let me go, and I will tell you what he said.
That's such an obvious trick. There's no way he's gonna... And Foley guy, tires don't squeal on dirt roads. To be fair, he doesn't let her go, just ask over and over again what he said, up until Michael wakes up and, surprise, surprise, starts murdering people, starting with Sartain, breaking free from the backseat by beating the bastard's backside. Allison takes this opportunity not to run to the police right the fuck there, but rather off into the woods, like a good victim.
Say something.
So fuck you, Rob Zombie's Halloween! Which I think is the fuck you past Halloween movies that most of the viewers will really get behind. The police do go up to figure out what the hell all that weird stuff right in front of them is, but by the time we see them again, it's from the perspective of Ray. That's a great sign. As expected, they've been horribly murdered and mutilated. Better stare at them stupidly for a good while. And Ray is killed by Michael Myers. It really isn't that big of a deal. The man was going to die sooner or later. Probably sooner, falling down the stairs trying to tie his socks. So good news, Karen. You don't have to worry about him being a dumbass to all your friends anymore. With that, Karen heads down into the basement, while Laurie goes to the front door. Not at the ready, but leaning on it. That way, Michael can burst through, grabbing at her, and leaving her struggling for her life. Tactical. Barely escaping, Laurie retreats into the basement, while Michael breaks in. Oh well, no time like the present to have a heart-to-heart with your daughter.
I was wrong to raise you the way I did, but at least I can protect you.
The fuck? Lady, you raised your kid to defend herself from horrifying immortal serial killers. And yes, she found that a little more stressful than Lucky Charms and My Little Pony, but you are currently defending yourself from a horrifying immortal serial killer. Vindicated doesn't begin to describe it. As it happens, though, Laurie can't fight Michael if she's not in the same room as the man, so she heads right back up the fucking stairs and begins sweeping the house, looking for him. Closing off shutters, alien style, she works to eliminate his options while tracking him down. Also, she might be regretting leaving those mannequins everywhere. Yeah, they're useful for target practice, though far more expensive than paper and not as reusable as steel, but leaving them standing around, well, that just makes it far too easy for a serial killer to surprise you. No, not the face! The resulting scuffle sends Laurie flying off the balcony, slamming into the ground below. Right around the time Allison shows up, and apparently didn't notice any of that.
Grandmother!
So that's what it feels like. Allison makes it to the basement relatively quickly and finds her mother there, crying and pleading for Laurie to come save them because she just can't do it. Which is exactly what she wanted Michael to think.
Gotcha.
Ah, the face again! Why? At that moment, Laurie strikes. The three ladies take their respective turns beating the ever-living fuck out of Michael Myers, eventually knocking into the basement before they trap him. It turns out this entire house was really one big fucking booby trap all along, with gas lines leading to heating elements everywhere, which should already be ignited, but the plot's getting there. First, they have to grandstand a bit and drop an artistic flair down into the basement with Michael. Does that mean I have to do Dancing Michael on Fire? No, it doesn't. Therefore, happy ending! Absolutely everything Laurie owns is on fire. And as luck would have it, a handy-dandy truck happens by, giving our heroes the chance to escape, even though the bad guy's already dead. Or is he? And yeah, that's another thing I got wrong in my initial reaction review, saying that they both looked maybe alive, maybe not, where clearly they do look alive. At least Karen looks clearly alive, but Allison does have a knife, it does have blood on it, it does stop on it, it does zoom in and freeze frame on that, so yeah, she's got the knife there. It's the classic, does she become the new killer ending, which, if previous Halloween movies are anything to go by, no, Michael Myers is the killer. If Michael Myers isn't the killer, it's not a Halloween movie. So, anyway, that was Halloween. Halloween 2018. And it's pretty good. Not great. Plenty of people have said this is the absolute best of the Halloween sequels. And, well, I don't necessarily disagree with that, but Halloween sequels aren't exactly known for being fantastic movies. Shit got weird fast, and then the slasher craze made things get cringy, and then Rob Zombie got a hold of it. Yeah, Halloween hasn't had a great track record. However, Halloween 2018 is a decent modern horror movie, but that's really the best I can say about it. It's decent. It goes through the motions, but if you're a fan of horror and familiar with modern horror, you've already seen those motions. Hell, if you're a fan of Halloween, you've already seen most of the setup and payoffs as well. One part where the movie is at odds with itself is the fact that it looks like it was shot with the intention of being timeless. By looking at any particular shot, it doesn't immediately scream it was made in any particular era. But unfortunately, you really can't say that about the writing. It is very much a 2018 movie, relying heavily on jump scares and giving us less than inspired characters. Karen was supposed to be someone who's had their whole life revolving around fear from 40 to 28 years prior, and while, yes, I know you can move past these things, it wasn't until not just the climax, but the final battle that she grew some balls. The police were their usual brand of useless in these movies, and Ray? Oh dear God, Ray. Ray is what happens when you make someone as dumb as Homer Simpson, but forget to add the charm and loves his family parts to the mix. He's just an imbecile, who it's hard to believe manages to dress himself in the morning. No fucking idea what Karen sees in the guy. But of course there's Laurie Strode, and her backstory is gone over in great detail, but not in such a way that it bogs down the movie like it did in H2O. Even more impressive when you consider her history is longer and more detailed in this movie than it was back then. For all the character shortcomings, Jamie Lee Curtis manages to carry the movie almost by herself, although the performance of Michael Myers is also very entertaining. Overall, Halloween 2018 is quite possibly the best of the Halloween sequels, depending on your personal tastes. I'm a Halloween 3 kind of guy, but the Thorn trilogy did grow on me as well. This take is a more straightforward romp around Haddonfield, but it does get the job done well enough, coming in at 3 asshole horror characters who somehow did not get killed out of 5. But isn't that half the fun of horror? Watching terrible people get their comeuppance. Either that, or after spending so much time watching this stuff, I am actually starting to go a little psycho myself. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I've been Shado, and remember, I gotta get this peanut butter off my penis.